I have never seen a fan base like galvanize around a player like Memphis has done with Ja.
There was this guy in Philadelphia. His name is Allen Iverson. He got traded. Ja Morant ain't Allen Iverson. Samaria, your favorite NBA sports franchise is in some hot water because there's some tension between Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, last week in a loss to the Los Angeles Lakers, Ja Morant didn't play that well. He had actually a really terrible game. In the aftermath of why he played bad, he said that if anybody had a question about it, that they should ask the coaches. And inevitably, he was suspended for one game for conduct detrimental to the team. This is your guy. This is your franchise, your organization. Give us the inside scoop. Give us the tea.
First of all, I do like the Grizzlies, but they're not like, I just only covered them. Anyways, it seems as though there is some sort of turmoil, right? We know that the new head coach, I cannot pronounce his name.
I won't even try.
Isolo, I think it's Isolo. He's new, right? They had Taylor Jenkins since Ja was there, and I think that that's really important to point out because Taylor Jenkins came with like this empathy for Ja because he saw him when he was this youngster out of Murray State. He grew with them. Taylor Jenkins really saw, and that coaching staff saw him grow, right? So when he did have some missteps off the court, they were a little forgiving, right? Everybody loves Ja in the city. Like it was no issue. But I think that Isolo coming in doesn't have that empathy for Ja. He sees Ja for who he is right now, and he's not putting up with it, right? So we saw the matchup against the Lakers in which they lost. There was a team huddle. Ja was off to the side. And then after the game, they asked him about it. He's like, well, you need to ask the coaches. From what I'm hearing, there was another incident in the locker room where Isolo called Ja out. And whatever happened in that, they were like, oh, no, you sitting out a game.
That's what I want right there. I want the inside scoop from Samaria. You know what I'm saying? Because she a Grizzlies insider.
That's the inside. I don't know if that's the inside scoop. Like, I think people are talking about that. But I think that ultimately is what led to the suspension. Because Isolo is, from what I'm hearing, somebody that's very direct. He's not going to beat around the bush. He's not Taylor Jenkins. Taylor Jenkins was very laid back and not really necessarily confrontational. But Isolo is not. And I think it's because he sees the potential the Memphis Grizzlies have, especially with Ja Morant. And so he wants the best out of the team. But I think that Ja is responding negatively towards that.
Yeah, changing environment can definitely change somebody's disposition and energy and affection for a sports franchise. Our producer, Joe, world famous, asked a really good question. He said, is it beneficial for NBA franchises to have a superstar running the show? Right. I thought that was he didn't phrase it quite like that. I buttered it up because he doesn't write exquisitely like that. But I thought it was a really good question in asking like, yo, is it good for superstars to be given the keys to not just the team on the court, but the entire infrastructure of these organizations? And in certain instances, it can be a phenomenal thing. If you have Steph Curry, if you have Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, guys who lead a certain kind of way and that people are willing to follow, then yeah. And I don't even want to just mention all the old guys. I think there's a young regime taking place as well. The Wembys of the world, the Cade Cunninghams of the world. I think there's some young guys that are also cut from a similar fabric. But Ja Morant, unfortunately, does not seem like the kind of guy you want to give the keys to your franchise to. And it's not just because of what he does or does not do on the court, but it's because of the way that he carries things off the court publicly. Every NBA superstar that has ever existed has always had skeletons. Ja Morant is no different than Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley and anybody else, right? Outside of like Hakeem Olajuwon, because he was like a monk apparently. But the things that Ja does become public fodder, and they reek of immaturity. And so if you have that guy as the face of your franchise, you trust in that guy to be the difference maker, then I don't know how far your franchise can go. This team looks entirely different than it did just 4 years ago.
I remember this playoff run, and that was not that long ago. It seems so long ago, but it really was not that long ago when we were witnessing like history being made and Ja making these crazy plays to win games, and like the city of Memphis was just like on this high to like now. And I was watching the ESPN report about it, and I'm like, he was suspended like 30 something games 2 seasons ago. He had some suspensions last year. And the fans were really excited that he had played like the first 6 games. They were like, okay, this is a start. And then he gets suspended. And it's just like it just seems like deja vu. It's like, okay, we're just back to and then I do want to get into the issue with him and Kendrick Perkins, if you don't mind.
Okay. Yeah. But real quick, I just think the joy of the game is gone for Ja Morant right now. You can see it. You can see it in the way he plays. There's no scenario in which a superstar is going up against the Los Angeles Lakers and does not play well. He was lethargic. He was disinterested. He wasn't moving with any level of energy. It was embarrassing the way that he played. On the season, he's shooting just 15% from 3. He's no longer desiring to make exciting plays. I don't know where his mind is at. It might be time for a fresh start. It might be time to ship him out of there. I think it actually is time for that.
I agree. I know that the city of Memphis is not going to want to hear that. I think that's really the issue, is that they adore him so much that they would riot in the streets. If he was,
I don't think so. It depends on what you get in return.
Would. Like, Ja has made his entire persona Memphis, and they receive that.
Well, he's from the South, but let's say hypothetically, right? Let's say you trade him for Trae Young. If you trade Ja Morant for Trae Young, I think the Memphis fan base is happier the next day. I'm just saying, and I don't think the Atlanta Hawks would ever do that trade at 1,000%, because ultimately winning is the best deodorant for anything. So if you put somebody in that jersey, in that organization, who injects winning culture to that team, that's all the Memphis Grizzlies fans want. They don't care about.
They do, but then I'm not
everybody
saying they
moves
don't
on.
Want to win. I know. I'm not saying that they don't want to win, right? But I just think that I have never seen a fan base like galvanize around a player like Memphis has done with Ja.
There was this guy in Philadelphia. His name is Allen Iverson. He got traded. Ja Morant ain't Allen Iverson. Period. Okay. But you want to talk about Kendrick Perkins?
Yes. So obviously last week there was another incident where Ja was making headlines because Kendrick Perkins was on the Out the Mud podcast featuring 2 Memphis greats in Tony Allen and Zach Randolph. And he got kind of, candid about his relationship with Ja. He said he don't mess with Ja. Ja don't mess with him, because he said that he stuck his nose out and his neck out for Ja. And then Ja made him look bad to ESPN. And I thought it was interesting that Kendrick said that he was one of the reasons, or the main reasons, why ESPN came down to Memphis and did all this coverage. That was odd. But of course, Ja responded, and it wasn't positive. And so he made headlines for that. And then a couple of days later, he gets suspended. It just seems like it's just a lot of negativity.
I don't know what's in the fridge up there in Bristol, Connecticut, that all the ESPN talent be having so much damn dip on their chip, but they gotta clear that refrigerator out of the break room. Kendrick I did a short on him, a couple of weeks back, man. Mm-hmm. He's really done a great job in branding himself as a guy who's willing to say anything. And I think that sometimes he's just so high on his own supply that he detaches from reality and truth. Like, Ja Morant was the number 2 overall draft pick for a reason. He was somebody that was electric. His eye-popping dunks, his energy, was something that fans wanted to see in a time when the league was, very much everybody shooting threes. Ja Morant and Zion Williamson, but we're focusing on Ja. Ja felt like the antithesis of what everybody else was doing in the NBA around that time. And so, yeah, of course, fans wanted to see a guy who was relentlessly attacking the rim, at just 6'1" and dunking over people. That was the thing that people wanted to see. It had nothing to do with Kendrick Perkins speaking about Ja Morant. And so Ja responding the way he did, I actually was like, yeah, bro, like he deserved an opportunity to defend himself in that situation, because Perk was completely out of bounds and out of touch. It annoyed me, but I've become like, so it's like everything else going on in the world. Sometimes it'd be so much going on that I'm just desensitized to it all. I just be like, oh yeah, I expect Kendrick to say something crazy like that.
Yeah. And then to do it on the podcast with Zebo and TA, I thought that was very weird. But anyway.
Virality. We got to get you to say something crazy so you can go viral. Yo, if it wasn't for Samari and Terry, let me tell you right now, Derrick Henry would never.
No, I
I'm gonna
went
say it.
viral once. I don't want to do it again. Anyways, there's a lot going on in Memphis. The front office, the general manager, the owner, y'all got to come to a decision because it seems as though things are not looking good.
Yo, it's time to blow it up, man.
Really,
It's time to blow it up. It's time to blow it up. You know, you got a phenomenal draft next year. I believe that Memphis owns their first round draft pick next year. So I think if it was ever a time to redirect and recourse, then I think it's right now. You got at least 6 or 7 guys next year who project to be NBA All-Stars down the line. Of course, headlined by AJ DeBensta, Boozer from Duke, as well as Darren Peterson from Kansas. There's another guy, Caleb Wilson in North Carolina, who I think is a special talent as well. So, you know, there's an opportunity now to put all your chips to the middle of the table and just tank the rest of the season. You know, inevitably, we know that Triple J is going to get injured. It is what it is. You have a really good rookie this year in Cedric Coward.
Put that on, Jaron.
He gets hurt every year. It is what it is. Ja Morant, of course, is going to get injured. Yo, trade bait, cut losses, and figure out where you can send Ja Morant so that your starting point guard is like Tyus Jones or somebody, and your season goes down the hill, and you end up.
I don't think that Tyus plays for the Grizzlies.
I said somebody. I just mean like a tier 3 NBA point guard is leading your franchise, and you know you're not going to have a lot of wins. Go pick up Seth Curry off of waiver wires.
I think they had don't they have Scottie Pippen Jr. or is he hurt?
He was hurt. I don't know if he's back yet, but let him run the helm. Man, let him run the helm and let's just tank. Let's just try to do what we can do for AJ or Boozer and see what we can do from there. This thing is over. It's a wrap. You have no chance of winning a championship with this team as currently constructed. The only person I'm worried about out west. Who do you say? I'm not worried about nobody out west.
He said I'm not worried about the West.
Yeah.
He's only worried about the Celtics.
It's over, Soldier. It's over. And it'd be good for Ja.
I don't know. I think it will be interesting to see how he transforms when he goes to another market. That would be really interesting.
Just make sure they have strict gun laws.
Anyways, we want to hear from you all, though. Specifically, Grizzlies fans. If you are a Memphis Grizzlies fan, I want to hear from you on your thoughts on this with Ja Morant and his head coach. Do you want to see him traded away? Do you think that they can make it work with him? Please drop down in the comments and let us know.
Drop down and get your comments on, girl. And then also, we want y'all to tap into our newsletter. The link is in the bio. We keeping y'all up to date on all things going on in the world of sports. It's a good time over there. It's a parade inside my city. You know about that?
I do know about that. I heard it a lot.
Hey,
I
look
was
at you.
trying. Well, because Ja used to say it all the time. I was trying not to say drop down, but I still said it.
You did. Drop down and put your comments in, girl. All right, we out of here, man.